You know, I always wondered, if I was a superhero, what powers would I probably have? Maybe super strength? Nah, that's too cliche. Maybe flying? Nah, I get travel sick as it is anyway. Maybe invisibility? Nah. Ah, I got it. I'd have the power to copy people's content without being demonetized. Oh yeah! Don't pretend you don't do that. Hello internet! Welcome to WellKnownTV Film Theory, the only show to make one episode and manages to steal the exact same concept from the biggest theory channel, all whilst trying to ruin your favourite superhero film extra. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to be telling you the reason why the most lovable character from The Incredibles is actually the most menacing and evil character in the entire movie. Now, I already know most of you people will be typing away at your keyboards getting ready to send me hate comments, but honestly, just listen to this theory because it will blow your mind! So, I've been putting this theory off for over a month now, just because I didn't think I had enough information, but after rewatching the movie over and over and over and over again, searching the internet for information, and also looking at other people's theories on this, I finally think I've got enough information to make this theory plausible. So strap in, ladies and gentlemen, because today we are going to be looking at Edna Mode and her evil ways. Now, I've been searching the internet for ages now looking for new information and seeing if other people have even thought of this theory. But the only other thing I could find was another theory, which could make my theory pretty plausible. The theory that I'm talking about is where people speculate that Edna Mode is actually a reformed villain, and if you want to check out that video, I'll link it in the description for you guys, but I'm just telling you about it because it actually helps more with this theory. So, my whole thought about this theory came from the end scene of The Incredibles, in which we see Syndrome holding Jack as the Incredibles family run into the house. But my question is this: how did Syndrome know that Jack existed? I mean, earlier in the movie, we find out that Syndrome only just found out that Mr. Incredible had a family.
Oh no. Elastigirl? You married Elastigirl? Oh, and got busy! It's a whole family of supers! Looks like I've hit the jackpot!
But the only people that were there were Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, Violet and Dash. There was never any hint about Jack being there. And I doubt any of the family told Syndrome about Jack. And so that led me to the thought, maybe he somehow talked to Edna at some point after the Omnidroid fight and she told him. Now, there were also some other theories out on the internet around saying that Syndrome's suit was actually made by Edna, and so if that's so, then that means they've already got some kind of connection and can communicate with each other whenever they want. Now, you're probably wondering, but Danny, why would Edna possibly tell Syndrome, an obvious villain, about her friend's baby? Well, to answer that, we need to go back to the start of the film. So, the start of the film, and essentially the story for the film, is that Mr. Incredible did something that people weren't okay with, and then all of the superheroes in the world had to be disbanded.
Burden of an ever-mounting series of lawsuits, the government quietly initiated the Superhero Relocation Program.
And now, you may think, oh, well that's stupid, how does that link? But when we think of Edna, we know that her job, or in fact her entire livelihood, is making suits for superheroes. And because of Mr. Incredible's actions and what he did, it means that she's no longer got a job because there's no more superheroes for her to make suits for. So everything she knows is just being thrown out of the window because of Mr. Incredible. Now, she has nothing. The only thing she knew was creating suits for superheroes, and she can't even do that. She now has nothing and wants revenge, but she can't do anything about it herself. I mean, just look at her. Someone this adorable, even with a load of anger and revenge on her mind, wouldn't be able to take on Mr. Incredible. I mean, look at the size of him compared to her. He'd absolutely destroy her. And this is where Syndrome comes into it. So, you remember earlier into the movie that I said Edna potentially made Syndrome's suit? Well, that means he went to her sometime between the superheroes being disbanded and Mr. Incredible returning to superheroism, if that's even a real word. Now, what I think happened is that Syndrome went to Edna asking for a suit, which she tried turning down as it was no longer her job after what happened. And that's when Syndrome tells Edna about his plan to try and capture Mr. Incredible and get his own revenge. And with Edna wanting her revenge too, as Mr. Incredible was the one who destroyed her job, agrees to make Syndrome a suit and they become partners. Now, again, you're thinking, but if that's true, Danny, then how come after Mr. Incredible first encountered the Omnidroid and destroyed it, he went to Edna's for a new suit and she just gave him one willy-nilly? Well, I also have an answer for that too. Now, as I already said, Edna wouldn't be a match for Mr. Incredible anyway, what with his amazing strength and all. And when he turns up to a house, if you remember, he actually goes unexpectedly.
I'm an old friend. I just wanted to...
And so she wouldn't even be able to do anything anyway, because she didn't know he was going to go. So what's the best thing she can do? She can make him and his family a brand new suit. However, there is just one strange thing that I was wondering. Why did she put a tracker on the superhero suit? Especially when that makes a beeping noise. And this is where it all pieces together. Edna Mode put the tracker on him so that she always knew his whereabouts and could actually set off the tracker herself when he was in the perfect position to be caught by Syndrome. However, when it comes to it, she has the prime opportunity to get Elastigirl as well. Like, if you remember in the movie, Edna isn't actually the one who presses the button for the tracker, but Elastigirl. You see, Edna had the option to push the button herself, but because she's such a villainous character, she realised that the best way to do it was to get the wife of the guy who destroyed her career to press the button. That also probably explains why when she asks Elastigirl if she wants to know about his whereabouts, she does it in such a menacing tone.
Would you like to find out?
She knows his exact whereabouts already, and she knows that by Elastigirl pressing the button will get Mr. Incredible captured, and she will be the one to do it. Now, she has to convince Elastigirl to go and get it, and also get her captured too, to further get revenge on the man who destroyed her business. However, they all manage to escape and get back to the city, to which we see Syndrome fleeing in fear after the Omnidroid fight. He didn't destroy Mr. Incredible and his family, and so he goes to see Edna, his partner in crime, to tell her that he couldn't do it. And this, my friends, this is where we come back to my original question. How did he know about Jack? Well, as I said, he flies over to Edna's house and tries to get another plan formed. And this is where Edna suggests one final way to get revenge on Mr. Incredible, and that is by taking his baby. The only other way to destroy the man who destroyed them. And so after that, Syndrome goes to the Incredible's house, takes Jack, and waits for him to get back just so he can gloat about it.
He might make a good sidekick.
However, Syndrome fails yet again and ends up being taken out by the engine of a plane, and the family is good to live another day. All whilst Edna, the evilest character in the movie, is just sat, planning her next act of revenge. Now, with all that information, I can only assume that she is a villain, but I guess we won't exactly know until Incredibles 2 comes out. But in the meantime, remember, that's... Okay, I'm gonna stop now. But yeah guys, that's my theory. I understand there are a few things that don't add up, like, if she made Syndrome's suit, then why did she give him a cape, even though she's so adamant against them for Mr. Incredible? But maybe she just wanted to take them both out? I don't know, but just look at the rest of my facts, okay? Well, anyway, I hope to see you soon, and I'll speak to you later.